Just kidding. OpenAI says no GPT-5 this year, but we may get Gemini 2.0. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. OpenAI has certainly had no shortage of cool feature launches this year. We finally got our hands on advanced voice mode. We recently got the very exciting O1, the new reasoning model which pushes us in an agentic direction. And yet, I would be lying if I said that everyone wasn't really just focused on their next big frontier model drop, whether it's called GPT-5 or Orion, as it appears to be codenamed. I think there is broadly a sense that a lot of the future of AI is going to be shaped by what OpenAI can do with GPT-5. If this model represents a total sea change and some dramatically advanced capabilities, it will ignite this space in an incredible way. If, on the other hand, it's just only incrementally better, I would expect to see a lot more people coming to argue, as some do, that we may be reaching some sort of plateau with today's architectures. Now, the big labs keep pushing back and saying that we are not reaching those plateaus, which is one of the reasons that people are so eagerly anticipating this drop. For that reason, it was very exciting last week when The Verge and others started reporting that OpenAI planned to release GPT-5 or Orion as early as December. Alas, those hopes were dashed when OpenAI responded to those rumors by saying, quote, "We don't have any plans to release a model codenamed Orion this year. We do plan to release a lot of other great technology." We also got commentary from Sam Altman himself, who posted on The Verge's quote-unquote scoop, "Fake news out of control." Sam also took some time to tweet with the chattering classes, including Greg, who wrote, "Sam, my ChatGPT is pretty woke. Could you please fix that?" To which Sam Altman wrote, "It's really not, but enjoy your Dogecoins." Now, because it's fun to parse every little thing, TechCrunch noted the awkward wording of the correction. Remember, they said, "We don't have any plans to release a model codenamed Orion this year. We do plan to release a lot of other great technology." Basically, that doesn't say that we're not releasing a frontier model, just that we're not releasing a model codenamed Orion. As TechCrunch wrote, OpenAI's statement leaves substantial wiggle room. It could be that the company's next major model isn't, in fact, Orion. Or perhaps OpenAI will release a new model by December, but one less capable than Orion. At this point, it's anyone's guess. And yet with all of that, there are very clearly some trends that are here and are driving a lot of developments in the space right now. One of the biggest, if not the biggest story last week was Anthropic's release of their computer use model, which basically allowed Claude to take over a computer using a cursor to do basic tasks on the web. We're now getting news that Google is planning to launch their next frontier model, Gemini 2.0, by the end of the year as well. Not to let OpenAI steal all the headlines, Google is also targeting a December release for their new model. Not much is known about how the competition will shake out at this point. However, Alex Heath of The Verge wrote, "I've heard that the model isn't showing the performance gains the Demis Hassabis-led team had hoped for, though I would still expect some interesting new capabilities. The chatter I'm hearing in AI circles is that this trend is happening across companies developing leading larger models." Heath also noted that Noam Shazir, the AI researcher Google poached from Character AI, or really lured back to Google, is working on a separate reasoning model aimed at competing with OpenAI's O1. Going back to what we were just discussing with GPT-5, this iteration of models is set to be an order of magnitude more expensive to train, so labs are taking a big bet on revolutionary power rather than iterative improvements. The question among AI researchers I've spoken with is whether these ultra-expensive frontier models are all converging in their capabilities and ultimately commoditizing each other. As I've written before, the real value is increasingly flowing to the products these models power and not the models themselves. Still, it's clear that, for the foreseeable future, the top AI developers will continue racing to release even bigger and more expensive models as fast as they can. Even if the performance improvements start leveling off, the competitive pressure to have the leading model isn't going away anytime soon. Now, separately, as I mentioned, the information reports that Google is preparing to preview a computer use feature. Codenamed Project Jarvis, after, of course, Tony Stark's digital assistant, the feature would only allow Google's models to access a web browser rather than having control of the entire interface, but still, it's designed to automate everyday web-based tasks, including clicking buttons and entering text. Sources say the feature could automate gathering research, purchasing a product, or booking a flight. Or really, as I suspect, just show off what could be capabilities in the future, but if it's limited to things like booking a flight, it's probably not all that valuable in the short term. The information noted that plans to preview the feature in December are subject to change, and that Google are still considering releasing it to a small number of testers to iron out bugs. While this era of allowing AI agents to take over a computer is arriving quickly, the ways various labs are approaching the feature shows the trade-offs between power and safety. Google and Microsoft are taking a very cautious approach, sandboxing the agents to a web browser and limiting their capabilities. Anthropic, meanwhile, has taken explicitly the opposite approach, launching a version of the feature with relatively few constraints, but that didn't have access to browsing the web. Anthropic noted that the feature is still, quote, cumbersome and error-prone, However, they spun it as the safest way to deploy a feature that will one day be widespread. They said this means we can begin grappling with any safety issues before the stakes are too high, rather than adding computer use capabilities for the first time into a model with much more serious risks. Anyways, we are still living in the realm of rumor, but it feels like we are on the cusp of the next generation, and it is going to be very exciting to watch to see how it rolls out. For now, though, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Until next time, peace.